let's get into it. We asking a question: is fake meat better for humans than real meat? It's a couple different ways we're gonna talk about it, so hold on. We also watched 2 documentaries, one on Tyler Perry, another one on Barry Sanders, and of course we're gonna talk sports. That's all coming up, man. You kicking it with KC. Let's go. Yeah, man, popular topics, pop tops that may or may not be talked about in the news with yours truly, KC, MC. 10 plus years radio experience and more. Let's get into it, man. We first talking about, or only really talking about, this fake meat situation. Do you think fake meat is better than real meat for humans? Overall, it's a couple main points. Beef production contributes heavily to greenhouse gases. This is climate change type stuff we talking about, especially in Texas. And Texas is the largest cattle producer in the United States. Aquaculture, also known as fish farming, it now surpasses wild fish catch. Do you even know what that means? And it leads to environmental problems like pollution and ecosystem damage, which we need to explore. Cultivated meat or lab grown meat is basically meat that's grown from cells, and that also faces challenges like customer exception and production costs. When was the last time you said, ooh, I got a taste for some fake meat or some lab-grown meat? That's not really happening like that. So this story is coming from apnews.com. It's a big project, essentially. And it's exploring a lot of different topics from a lot of different angles. It's really talking about, I don't know if you know, but cows and cattle, they burp. Whenever they burp and sometimes fart, they let out a lot of greenhouse gases, especially methane. Methane is not good. It's not good for humans. It's not good for the air. Essentially, it's about 80 times more harmful than carbon dioxide. Now, some sources say 29 times. Some sources like AP News are saying 80 times. Either way it go, it don't matter. It's bad. Greenhouse gases are the same thing that come out of cars. Imagine being locked in a garage with the smoke that's coming out of the car. It's not gonna do you any good. And they're saying the same thing with cows farting and burping and stuff like that. They say the farms and the waste from them can degrade and pollute nearby ecosystems. Diseases can quickly spread through the lightly or tightly packed fish, and gathering the feed for the animals can cause distant environmental problems. Essentially, this whole system of us getting beef and fish, it's not doing the environment good. Now, they're saying specifically fish that's coming from aquaculture. If you don't know what aquaculture is, it's just basically fish farming. Now, the alternatives to just getting regular beef from cows, you got plant-based, you got cultivated, aka lab-grown meat. There's some issues with that too. But between 2018, 2022, big surge in plant-based. This is when everybody was talking about, I'm only eating plant-based, I'm going vegan, vegetarian. Global retail sales of plant-based meat and seafood more than doubled to $6 billion. This is according to Euromonitor, a marketing research firm. Now, production costs for the first cultivated beef burger, this is lab-grown beef, was like in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now they kind of basically got it down to like $10 a burger, essentially. But what they're saying is it costs too much for this lab-grown meat, but it's doing better for the environment because we don't have to slaughter cows. We don't have to worry about cows being out here on the cattle and out here farting and burping and messing up the ozone layer. Why do we really care about this? Why do you really care about it? I got a couple visual aids that kind of help me with this discussion. Specifically, I want to say this, and first and foremost, just talking about the population in the world compared to the farmland. Now, they're saying in 2010, farmland increased from 38 million square kilometers to 48 million. Now, repeating this same type of growth, we will have to cut down a lot of forests, a lot of tropical areas, which we technically need for oxygen. Trees and grass not only give out oxygen, but they soak up carbon dioxide, preventing us from choking and dying. That type of stuff. But then you get into the growth that's happened from 2010 to 2017. Now, we got a little bit more farmland, but it's not as much as we really need for the growing population. We got to find ways to feed the growing population without clearing more land. It's a lot of people on this earth, and not, trust me, I didn't even know, but you got to put it in perspective. It's like, I think we just recently surpassed 8 billion people globally, worldwide. Now just think about it. We going all the way back to 1700. 1700 to 1950. That's 250 years. They say the world living population grew by what? Did I say 7 billion? 6 billion, 7 billion? Okay. Just think about that. Because we're going to turn it up. From 1950 to 2010, it grew by 4 billion in 60 years. So I believe the first one, it wasn't even that much. Think about the exponential growth. 2 billion. 2 billion between 1700 and 1950. That's 250 years. The world population only grew by 2 billion. Between 1950 and 2010, it's grown by twice as much as that. And almost less than a fourth of the time. That's crazy. Now we're at 8 billion people worldwide and growing. And we have to feed everybody. And everybody's appetite for beef is growing also. That's when I started to get worried. That's when I said, oh, we need to start paying attention to this. And it's not even really about climate change. I'm gonna be honest. When it comes to the average American like myself, I don't give a damn about the climate change. More than likely, it's not really affecting us. It's gonna affect the future or whatever they say. But we gotta be wary of this, right? We starting to see 80 degree weather in October, in November, December. We starting to see snow in March, April. March is coming, but April, damn near May at this point. It's getting a little crazy. Temperatures are changing. That's when you start to realize, okay, it is starting to get a little bit more hotter than usual. Temperatures are breaking records, triple digits. Maybe we should, what are we gonna wait until we all really can't take it when it's outside, when it's hot outside? Until we got what? 10 feet of snow outside? Is that when we're gonna start thinking about what are we gonna do about this weather? Or are we just gonna chalk it up to God every time? It might have something to do with the gases and the smoke that we put into the air. Specifically, they're saying, you know, AP News and other government agencies are blaming it, or a significant portion, on the cows and the cattle. So they're saying we need to eat less beef, less chicken, less seafood, or we need to do it in different ways where we can like farm it or get it from plants, that type of stuff. Let me tell you, way back in August 2019 BC, before Corona, Burger King introduced the Impossible Whopper. Me, somebody being a conscious eater, a conscious consumer, I consider myself. This was between the 2018-2022 span when plant-based was on the rise. I was like, let me try this Impossible Whopper. It's only $1 more than a Whopper. I'm gonna enjoy this. I'm gonna do good for myself. Maybe if I could tolerate this, this is gonna be my new thing. It's fast food, but it's healthier, right? Now, I ate it. It wasn't bad, but it did have a weird aftertaste. But it was different from the traditional beef. So yes, it is gonna taste different. Nonetheless, it turns out they're grilling on the same grill that they do with the regular beef, so it got the same juices, fats, and oils. So it's like, it damn near don't make a difference. Point is, I consciously tried to make that shift over and to try to eat something that's more plant-based and healthy. They call it a flexitarian, carnivore. Somebody who would try the other plant-based stuff, but really just want the beef, pause. So it didn't really work out for me. I'm back to eating the regular deglars. But other than that, as an average American, we don't care about helping the environment. I think it's more about the fact when you find out that you're eating meat that's not really meat, then you might be worried. So you think about, what is this? Some people really don't care nowadays. They eat Chinese food and they don't even know where it's coming from. Or even McDonald's, and we don't know where it's coming from. I think overall the discussion on meat, including beef, seafood, plant-based, lab-grown alternatives, it highlights the environmental impact on food choices, essentially. Beef production generates substantial greenhouse gases, while cattle farming presenting challenges in emissions reduction. Aquaculture's growth raises concerns about ecosystem and degradation and disease outbreaks. Plant-based meat sales surged initially but plateaued in the US, while Germany, for an example, continued to witness steady growth in plant-based alternative meats. Lab-grown meat production, still in its infancy, controls challenges in consumer acceptancy, like myself and others, despite promising environmental benefits. Amidst these options, addressing global food production's impact on climate change remains a critical concern, especially in the context of limited land for agriculture against a rapid growing world population. Overall, if lab-grown meat, plant-based meat, and other alternatives is going to be the only option, and we can still survive off of it, and at the end of the day, real meat is causing pollution to the world. At the same time, it's limited. Is fake meat really better than real meat for humans? I would say it almost is at this point. We probably already are eating it, but that's just me. Let me know what you think. Go off in the live chat in the comments. Call into the show 313-466-4386. I actually got the links to all of my sources in the description on YouTube, so you can check that out just for proof. And form your own opinion, man. It's a source in there that also debates that whole cattle is the main pollution solution thing, or whatever the case may be. We're gonna switch it up. I want to talk about music, if you don't mind. A couple projects that we listened to recently. First and foremost, we listened to something from my mans from Detroit, man. Shout out to Sada Baby. Got a new project called Scoobop. This is 12 tracks, 32 minutes, within my 30 to 45 minute range that I usually appreciate from a project. I don't know about any current singles that's banging on the radio right now, but a couple songs stood out to me. Slimothy or Slimothy, that was pretty dope. Complicated with a K, and Attitudinal. 3 tracks out of 12, that's about 25%. That's pretty decent. So it's a pretty decent project if you ask me. Scoobop. I don't know what I necessarily expected from Sada Baby, but I appreciate him just being consistent, putting music out there and getting his name going, man. So Sada Baby Scoobop was a decent project for me. But I might be biased too just because I'm from Detroit and I'm showing love. But let me know what you think. Go off in the live chat in the comments or call into the show 313-466-4386. I got another project that we listened to. I guess we could say on the more R&B, soul, chill side. BJ the Chicago Kid. It was called Gravy. Listen to it on YouTube Music. No endorsement. Shout out to YouTube though. 15 tracks, 51 minutes. Just outside of the 30 to 45 minute range that I usually prefer. But I didn't get bored on it, I don't think. Only 2 songs stood out to me out of 15. The rest of them kind of just sounded like, they weren't bad. They just all blended together, and it just sounded like, almost like, all right, when we gonna get through this? When is the ending type stuff? But 2 songs stood out. Forgot Your Name featuring Corey Henry and Who Cares. I was like, oh, these are nice. What's the name of this project? What's the name of this song? Okay. So those were nice to me. Those stood out to me. This is subjective when it comes to music. Not saying BJ the Chicago Kid is a bad artist or anything, but this is probably my first time that I recall listening to a BJ the Chicago Kid project straight through at least. But let me know what you think about Gravy. A lot of people said it was nice. They loved it. But, form your own opinion. Go off in the live chat in the comments, call into the show. 313-466-4386. Switching it up, though. Yeah, man. Talking about TV shows and movies that we saw recently in Corn Stream. Scenes I saw. First one, we saw a documentary on Tyler Perry. This was... Hold on, let me get this down just a little bit if you don't mind. A little freaky instrumental I got going on. Maxine's Baby, the Tyler Perry story. Saw this on Amazon Prime. No endorsement. This is an hour 59 minutes. Basically 2 hours long. Who do you think you are with this 2-hour documentary on yourself? Now, I don't want to hate on that. But listen, okay, it's a story about Tyler Perry's coming up. Tyler isn't really his first name. I forgot what it was. I don't even really care about it. He basically changed his first name because he didn't want to be named after his dad. His dad was very abusive growing up. His mom, he really loved his mom. Even his mom said, you should stop doing this play stuff. He did a couple plays. He got famous. He was homeless, blah, 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 blah. Rags to riches story. We could all probably predict what happened at this point. We know Tyler Perry. I'm kind of tired of the rags to riches story. I could have predicted a lot of the stuff that was going to happen in his lifetime. With that being said, you see what I'm saying? Like, when are we gonna see the stories of people who was already rich, came from fortunate families, and kept it going. You know how hard that is? We all expected Michael Jordan's kids to be the next Michael Jordan. You don't always meet up to certain standards. So I want to see stories like that. I don't want to see another rags to riches story, bro. It's killing me at this point. I mean, all respect to Tyler Perry, though. He also talked about being raised in the church and trying to become a minister at one point. Religion and Christianity is consistently used to control the masses, in my opinion. I think it's always used to kind of like, this is the good side of the culture. This is the good side of the urban culture. And if you don't at least agree with this ideology, abide by it, have grown up in it, you are the them, those, they. And they mark you off as the devil immediately. So, especially in the urban and black and Hispanic communities, in my opinion. So, of course, he fell through this. You know, I grew up in a church. Not to say that he didn't, but highly promoted that. I put the church and scriptures in my plays and in my movies and all my stuff. I believe in God. We pray, blah, blah, blah. I get it. I respect it. But it's the same narrative every single time. Let's switch it up, man. But all respect to Tyler Perry. Not even a bad documentary. It was just, I damn near expected all of this. We knew all of this damn near, bro. The only thing I didn't know was his first name, which at this point, we know everybody has a stage name, so I wouldn't be surprised if anybody's name is fake. But that's just me. Let me know what you think. Go off in the live chat in the comments. Call into the show, 313-466-4386. Switching it up and talking about another documentary, which I absolutely loved. Pretty sure I'm biased. Bye Bye Barry Sanders, man. Amazon Prime, no endorsement, man. This was an hour 33 minutes long. It just talked about the great man Barry Sanders from a perspective me as a Detroit Lions fan never knew. Now, he started his career in 1989, the year I was born, and then he went all the way to 1998. So I was just coming of age, hearing of Barry Sanders, being around the hype of Barry Sanders, knowing of Barry Sanders at a young age, and then also knowing that he quit, didn't know anything about the hype. But he ended up retiring at a young age, what people would say is the peak or prime of his era, and he never gave a reason why. He just faxed it in. He turns out he kind of gave a response, not a direct response, but he basically said, you know, he saw the direction that the team was going. He saw different teammates, you know, get seriously injured to where it was almost life-threatening on the Detroit Lions team. And, you know, he just weighed a couple options and said, I'm going to bow out gracefully while I still have my health. And at the end of the day, you can't do nothing but respect it. Now, as a fan, you hate it, especially in the midst of it. But we got the same thing with Calvin Johnson. So almost like, I got to respect it. I got to respect it. If the Lions ownership management is going to be on some BS, be all about whatever their money is, or just treating the Lions like a whatever franchise, then as a key player, I'm gonna be like, listen, if we ain't about to really invest this bread that I know y'all got in getting this team together, I'm out of here. And I'm all for that. I love it. I gotta support Barry Sanders on that, man. Shout out to Barry Sanders, man. This was a great documentary. Gave me a lot of perspective on an era of the Detroit Lions that I wasn't 100% privy to. So I loved it, man. Bye Bye Barry, Amazon Prime, no endorsement. Highly recommend it as a watch though, man. But let me know what you think. Go off in the live chat in the comments. Call into the show, 313-466-4386, man. We about to switch it up to some sports. Let's talk about sports, baby. From the stands of a sports fan, let's get into it. First and foremost, NFL, man. We're going to skip over the NBA this episode. I got to let this go. I got to talk about this officially. So week 11, we going back a week. The Lions hosted the Bears in Detroit, Ford Field. My girl got us tickets. We went. My second time in Ford Field, I was the happiest man alive. I had my family there. My son went to his first Lions game. My girl's a Bears fan, so we was playing her team. That's my secondary team. Anyway, it was the best experience of my life. The best experience of my life so far, I promise to God, bro. The Lions ended up winning. I just had to say that on my show, bro. I had to get that off. That was like 2 weeks ago at this point. But I had to say it, man. Shout out to my Lions. They made me proud. Now, that was week 11, man. I had a lot of notes about that, but we just going to skip past that. That was week 11. Week 12, they start off the week Thanksgiving. They play, 4 days later on Thanksgiving, and they lose to the Packers at Ford Field. Now, at the end of the game, they lost 22-29, but they were taken advantage of this game. They started off bad. Green Bay had 20 points in the first quarter. Overall, we saw a graphic that said the Lions lost 6 straight Thanksgiving games leading up to this. Vikings in 2017, Bears in 2018-19, Texans 2020, Bears 2021, Bills 2022. And then we just lost to the Packers, making it 7 straight Thanksgiving games. Even though we had a great momentum this season, we lose to the Packers, bro. Making Jordan Love look like goddamn Tom Brady out there. What is we doing, bro? They wasn't even really good. I'm sorry. I had to let that go. Yeah, another thing that I want to bring up, the Detroit Lions are offering season ticket holders a chance to purchase tickets for up to all 3 potential playoff games. And money spent on any unused tickets will be applied as a down payment for tickets for the next season. These are for season ticket holders for the Lions. Y'all got the nerves to already start getting money for a playoff game that ain't guaranteed. Y'all doing too much. I love it, but I hate it at the same time, bro. Why hype us up like this? And then you're going to say, oh, well, if they don't get to all 3 playoff games or only do 1, we're going to give your money back in the form of a deposit towards next season. How you know I want to be here next season? That's that entitlement, the audacity of the Detroit Lions ownership and management that I can see why Calvin Johnson and Barry Sanders left at this point. It's killing me, man. But anyway, I had to speak on that audacity. The next day was the very first NFL Black Friday game, the Dolphins and the Jets. The Dolphins beat the Jets 34-13. Miami ain't really did nothing for real. They got a nice team. Their record is decent, might be like 7-3 at this point. They ain't really played nobody for real, and beat them at least. So we gonna see when they really get competition. I want the Lions to play the Dolphins specifically, just so somebody need to humble these niggas, bro. That's all I'm saying. But anyway, Steelers just finished the game. The Steelers beat the Bengals 16-6. Joe Burrow is out for the season, by the way, with Cincinnati Bengals on an injury. Bengals on the 3-game losing streak, if not more. Well, it is what it is. Steelers, I'm happy that Mike Tomlin, is getting another win, moving along in history, keeping a winning record. I appreciate that, him being a black coach. One of the only, if not the only, black coach currently. Falcons, they beat the Saints. They were in ATL, by the way, 24-15. Taysom Hill was going crazy in the Saints, by the way. This man be throwing, catching, running the ball, looking like Christian McCaffrey and Deion Sanders out there. Like, they are, like, if he was really on the right, he was the right piece on the right team, that would be a crazy team. I think he need to go to the 49ers with Christian McCaffrey. That'd be interesting. I just want to see it happen. It's probably a long shot, though. Anyway, Jaguars just beat the Texans. C.J. Stroud was out there with the Texans going crazy, had them looking really good, but they took an unfortunate L today to Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars. Texans and C.J. Stroud, they had a chance to win it. C.J. Stroud had the ball in the last drive, like the last minute or so. He did some questionable runs. Now, his O-line did a good job at blocking, but he's scrambling around, wasting time, and end up getting sacked, losing 15 yards at one point. I think he lost another 10 and or something crazy. It's like, if you don't see the play, bro, you got to scramble. You got to take off. You got to go. I'm pretty sure you probably had some space. But anyway, that's why I think the only thing he probably missing, you got to run the ball, bro. If you don't see nobody like that, you can't just take that sack like that. Pause. That's pretty much it. I think the Bills are currently playing the Eagles right now. Eagles are 9-1. Bills might be, 6-4, 7-3, something like that. I don't know. But we'll see how that game goes. Might do a show later on tonight in regards to the NFL and some other sports updates. But that's just what I had in regards to the NFL. But let me know what you think. Go off in the live chat in the comments. Calling to the show, 313-466-4386. Switching it up, we got to talk about college football real quick. So it was rivalry week, and officially it went down. Michigan, number 3, played Ohio State, and they got the dub, man. They got the dub. They end up winning 30-24. Do I got that correct? Do I have that correct? 30-24, I believe. Man, yo, a great game. They played in Ann Arbor, like we just said, and it was a spectacle of a game. Like, a lot of intensity back and forth. And Michigan got an interception and started off in the first quarter. Blake Corum got the touchdown right afterwards, and the momentum just kept going. Now, I don't think Ohio State used Marvin Harrison Jr. like they should have. He should have went off. Everybody was really affected. Obviously, it's a very emotional game against Ohio State. Their first loss is going to move them down on the rankings, going to move Michigan up in the rankings. So it's a little bit like, I ain't gonna lie, I don't necessarily agree with how Ohio State played. Will this be Ryan Day's last game, last season as Ohio State head coach? A lot of people are saying, yeah. I would almost agree, but who you gonna get that's going to do better? Not to say that there's nobody, but I'm literally asking the question. Who should take Ryan Day's spot at Ohio State if he can't get the job done against Michigan, dog? Yeah, man, but that was it, man. Finally, man, Michigan got that win. Michigan State, speaking of them, they did end the season scoring nothing against Penn State, 42-zip. By the way, the only news with Michigan State is that they announced a new head coach, Jonathan Smith, coming from Oregon State. Now, the former Beaver, he used to play for Oregon, by the way. He was their quarterback. He finished as their coach 34-35 in 6 seasons. But he's been 18-7 since the start of the 2022 season. So he had a winning record since last season, 2022. But is that really like Michigan State ready? Does Michigan State not have the money to spend on a good coach? Or are they just like, man, let's just get anybody and just see if it worked? We got to have somebody here. I don't know, bro. Mel Tucker did come from he came from Colorado, but he did decent with Michigan, at least starting off. Had a terrible year last year and started this year off decent until he didn't start things off decent on his own personal time. But anyway, Michigan State, new head coach, Jonathan Smith from Oregon State. We'll see how that turns out, man. Another rivalry game that happened. Number 4, Washington beat Washington State 24-21. Michael Penix Jr., they won by the skin of their teeth. I watched most of this game. I think I turned my head away for a little bit, so I missed the ending. But Washington ended up getting the win. Number 4. They might even move up to number 3 with Ohio State losing. They might. So who knows about that? Michael Penix Jr. looking real good, looking like a Heisman candidate possibly. I watched a couple of his games this season. He's looking really eligible for that award, if you ask me. Then the Auburn and Alabama game. Alabama ended up getting a win, but they was getting that ass beat throughout the game. On the last play, it was like 4th and long. Pause. Alabama quarterback Milroe threw a Hail Mary touchdown pass in the corner. Isaiah Bonds, wide receiver. Got to put some respect on his name, bro. Got them the game. Only 30 seconds left after that. Auburn couldn't get the win. So Alabama gets the win, man. 27-24. I got the score mixed up. 27-24. It was a very, very crazy game, man. Very crazy game. Alabama now plays Georgia in the SEC Bowl, I believe. Now, if Georgia loses to Alabama, they still get a chance at the National College Football Playoffs in championship. But Alabama, if they beat Georgia, I don't think they get a chance at all. And Georgia, of course, if they beat Alabama, they go into the championship or playoffs. But you know, it's just crazy how that whole system works. I think Alabama should embarrass Georgia. I actually want them to. And we'll see how that goes. I really would love for Alabama to show up in the college playoffs just so they can get beat by Michigan and then Michigan just go to the championship. But anyway, let me know what you think, man. Your predictions for the college football playoffs and everything going on forward with that. Go off in the live chat in the comments. Call into the show 313-466-4386. We about to get up out of here if you don't mind. So as we wrap it up, I just wanted to clear my mind. First and foremost, I must be one of the only people in the entire world who likes my steak, as well as all my other meat, cooked well done. Damn near burnt. Now, I love when I go to a place like Black Rock and they give me my steak to cook on my own. And I'm the only one in the whole place, real smoke sizzle coming from the place, because I damn near want it brown in the middle. For real, because I like my meat cooked thoroughly, bro. I'm not one of these weirdos that like pink in the middle, that like it a little bit raw for the flavor or for the juice. That's nasty. I'll add A1 sauce if I need flavor or juice. Y'all killing me, bro. Or add that garlic butter, man. Y'all playing, dog. I like my steak and all of my meat actually cooked all the way. That way I don't get sick of that salmonella, whatever the case may be. That's just me thinking out loud, man. Let me know what you think. Go off in the live chat in the comments, call into the show. 313-466-4386. I'm about to get up out of here, but check this out. I forgot to switch out my graphics, so listen, we're going to do it like this. Kick it with KCMC on all social media. KIW, KCMC. That's just the abbreviations for Kick It with KCMC. Make sure you show some love to my sponsors too. Team Elite 313 on all social media. It's just TEAMELITE 313 on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Show some love. Check out their website too, teamelite313.com. If you got a couple dollars to donate to the show so we can grow, right here. We appreciate that. And for the free ski, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the alert so you know when we're going live, and also just share it. Tell a friend and tell a friend. Think about doing another episode again tonight on sports. Keep you updated on some NBA and the rest of the NFL week going on tonight, man. We'll talk about that. Other than that, later. We out.